mother as their wife, the mother of the person to whom they're referring.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, mother's still this. That's more like a small town or an older era talking thing. So again, it threw me a bit. But either way, so he's mostly antagonizing his brother, though, and it's very funny when he does it. And when they're making fun of religion, most of the making fun of religion, or not most of, but a lot of it is actually directed at one religion not liking another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're good Lutherans. So, it's like, in a way, if you're a Lutheran, I don't know, you might appreciate it or you'll be annoyed. I don't know. But if you're not a Lutheran, you might just think that this isn't talking about you. And regardless of that, you might just think this is small town religious people. And if you are a small town religious person, you might appreciate the Kool-Aid reference. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's trying to be mean. It feels like it's trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
But even though, again, it checks like 18 boxes of things that nowadays would come with trigger warnings, they just don't pull the trigger.
And 22 years later, no one's reappraised this. Like, some other movies really get these reappraisals. Like, if you watch this, just know that there will be these like trigger warnings. And all the people who write articles now, looking back on it, there's really none of that. So it walks a very fine line, John. With the hanging moment could have made this movie a different movie completely. A couple really darker jokes or meaner jokes could have made this movie a completely different experience. So I think, once again, I mean, this movie was made by smart people. And I also think it's pretty cool that the cinematographer too became a director as well, which makes me happy. I mean, this is a movie loaded with a bunch of talented people who moved on to other gigs. I mean, look at the stars and what a lot of them are doing now. So I don't know, I dig it. And yeah, any final thoughts before we do? I have a quick surprise for you, and then we'll get out of here. Any final thoughts about this movie?
So this is a movie that really, really shocked me watching it almost 20 years later. If you're somehow not sure what this movie really is still, I'm going to say it's Fargo meets Miss Congeniality covered with 18 pounds of Best in Show.
Yeah.
So really, this is more than anything like Best in Show, in my opinion. But it's a great double feature with any of those. I don't know. I'm going to say again, whoever you are, if you listen to us and you find us remotely entertaining, I think you're going to like this movie. Period. The end.
It has a good spirit.
Period. The end. Like, that's it.
I love it. All right. So how about this, John? Let's do a 1999 high school adjacent rated draft. You can pull it up on IMDb. That's fine.
I have to.
And I will give you first pick. Also,
oh my God.
In this movie, you also had Dick come out. That was really good. You also had Outside Providence, which there's a line in Outside Providence. He's like, yeah, how'd your brother get injured? Well, we were playing touch football and he had a freak accident. Wait. He had a freak accident. We were playing touch football and he fell off the roof.
I'm going to take Varsity Blues, which I saw twice in theaters at an age when I never did that. I was 18, because that cost money and I didn't have much of it. Varsity Blues, I still love that movie today. And that's a movie where I related to it as an 18-year-old spot on. And now the maturity of it, I still relate to teenage John in my head today to that movie as well as I did then. And in most movies that I loved and related to when I was young, I can't say that now. So Varsity Blues, hands down.
There goes my hero. I'm taking Election.
Great soundtrack.
Taking Election. Gotta do.
I'm gonna go 10 Things I Hate About You.
Ooh.
Love that movie. I was a big Third Rock from the Sun fan. And boy, everyone did wonderful. Larry Miller is the dad.
That's
priceless.
JGL. Oh, I love him in that movie. And Chili Palmer as the teacher. I love him in that movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a good picture. I'm gonna take Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Oh, right.
Is that okay?
Oh, no, absolutely. No, I'm always in favor of that. It's just it didn't. didn't strike me.
Well, listen, this is a strong year, John. This is a wildly strong year. And also, like, Heath Ledger was so charming in 10 Things I Hate About You. And I love that JGL was in 30 Rock, and that's what you pulled from. That made me very happy. That's some nostalgia right there.
There's a movie that I've wanted to pick for my first and second pick, and I'm still not picking it. Because as long as someone picks it, I'm happy. So I'm going to instead pick the movie that needs to be picked, and that's Never Been Kissed.
Never Been Kissed.
And that is a movie where at every stage of my life since that movie came out, I was able to very much relate to the sense of longing and the fear of expressing that interest in someone. You know, like Drew Barrymore's character. I get it. I got it as when I was 18. I got it in my 20s. I get it now. And it's, again, a movie that's very endearingly connecting to me at all ages. And it never feels like it ages. It's a really good one.
I love it. I'm going to take The Wood because I remember watching this in the theater. We did a Thursday night screening for it. I think I was the only one watching it. And I just love that movie. I've loved that movie for 22 years. I think it holds up well. I mean, like the cast, like Omar Epps, Taye Diggs, Richard T. Jones, like that's a solid cast. Good movie. I remember sitting in the theater just going, this is awesome. So I gotta do that. I'm taking The Wood.
Okay, so this movie doesn't age very well for me, but I thought it was pretty transformative at the time, and I really liked it for about 10 years after it came out. It just, at some point, I aged out of it, and that's Cruel Intentions.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that was so big, John. Like Ryan Phillippe, Reese Witherspoon, the Sarah Michelle Gellar, Selma Blair scene. Sorry to interrupt you, but remember?
No, you're good.
You remember it, man. Like we're kind of the same age. Like you got, but even if you're 2 years older than me, you remember how big this movie was.
Oh yeah, and the ending when Ryan Phillippe's character dies, it captures exactly the it's like the kids didn't know it at the time unless they read it online. Well, read it in a review, but the just the Shakespearean tragedy of his coming around, and first he manipulated, she realizes that she's manipulating him, then he really feels it, and she eventually realizes that he really feels it, and now this guy has a heart, and that is when he's struck down. And he's struck down for doing wrong when he was a bad person, even though now he's not, and he wants to amend, but the rage is there, and you get it, and it hurts. So again, I can't watch that movie now though and enjoy it. I really can't. Just a few scenes will sit well with me, but that was a strong movie.
So, all right, dude, that was big. That was a big movie, and it was well acted. I mean, you had Reese Witherspoon, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe. Like they crushed it.
Great. I don't know how you haven't picked a certain movie yet. I feel like you're going to pick it now.
I'm going to say Outside Providence.
You still haven't picked it. That's a good movie. I forgot all about Outside Providence.
Remember? I love that line. I know I've said it. I just said it ago, but it was like when he was young, he had a freak accident. We were playing touch football and he fell off the roof. And I love how he gives Amy Smart the necklace from the dentist that holds on to the clip. Like that was the thing he gave her. And just his friend's name was Weed.
And Alec Baldwin is the dad.
Yes.
Oh, he was great as the dad.
It bums me out that it's 51% because that's another earnest picture, though, that you watch. Like Sean Hardesty, he had just came off of The Faculty, but his character is just so earnest in it, and I love that about him. So I'm taking Outside Providence. It's an outside pick, but I'm going for that.
Okay, now I'm going to pick the thing that I was holding off on for 4 picks, and that's American Pie. I adore American Pie. I can't stress enough how much I still enjoy just on a Sunday afternoon when I'm cooking. If that's on HBO, wherever it is in the movie, I'll throw it on, including part 2 or the other sequels, sure. But
we got to watch American Reunion because Mark Hoffmeyer's a character in that one.
Well, but again, any of those movies, I usually just throw them on like when I'm cooking, when I'm folding laundry. I don't even need to see what else is on. I'm just like, yep, that. But the first 2 to me are so priceless, and they hold up well. The way that they deliver teen characters dealing with teen angst, a lot of it stands up well. What doesn't stand up well is Casey Affleck talking to his brother on the phone about the sex book, because that's just stupid.
And the video camera bit where he filmed her without her knowing, and then everybody on the school watched it.
Well, that's really funny, but but certain things just felt like, no adult is going to do this. Like, oh yeah, here's this book, it's in the library, the tongue whirlwind or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it feels like something that only works when you tell a 15-year-old that. But it's still it's a beautiful movie, and all the wonderful levity with Eugene Levy.
Great movie, Dad.
And this is something that I thought, because I didn't watch Schitt's Creek until season 6 was about to come out, and then I marathoned it all and adored it. But so this is even without Schitt's Creek, I still was loving this movie in the last several years. So that's my last pick.
You left me
very close to my heart.
Tough situation, John.
I think I know your last pick.
Well, all right. So there's Jawbreaker. I remember watching that and just thinking, this is one of the meanest things I've ever seen. It really affected me, John. I remember just going, this is mean. I agree. Yeah. I remember.
I knew what I was watching though when I watched it.
Oh, okay.
I knew what it was going to be.
Because I saw it in '99, and I knew it was R-rated, but I just wasn't ready for that. Because I hadn't seen Heathers yet. I watched Heathers shortly after, but I hadn't seen that yet. Then there's Idle Hands, which, I mean, that's a lot of fun.
I was waiting for you to pick that in your first few picks.
And then there's Detroit Rock City, which we covered on the podcast. There's, oh man, okay. So this is tough. So I don't care. This is tough. It's either Idle Hands or Jawbreaker. But I've covered Idle Hands. I mean, Jawbreaker's so mean. But I'm gonna take Idle Hands. Of course
you did. I've heard you mention Idle Hands like literally 100 times. I've heard you mention Jawbreaker like twice.
It's a nasty little. Well, I think I guess I just haven't wanted to revisit Jawbreaker, John, because I remember watching it in '99 and feeling kind of dirty. Maybe that's why it just stuck with me. But Idle Hands, I mean, listen, I don't think it's aged all that well, but I just like severed hands killing people, and it's just a funny stoner flick with Offspring, who was cool in '99 and had some good hits past that. But yeah, I'm surprised it's still around. So you have Varsity Blues, 10 Things I Hate About You, Never Been Kissed, Cruel Intentions, American Pie. I have Election, Drop Dead Gorgeous, The Wood, Outside Providence, and Idle Hands. I love it. I love my list. I'm happy.
Glad that I didn't think of Drop Dead Gorgeous, because I would have wanted to pick it, but I also wouldn't necessarily have been willing to give up any of my other picks. If one had to go, it might be Cruel Intentions, because that's the one that I would enjoy the least today. But it was still so impactful when I saw it.
I wouldn't trade anything. Maybe I would have taken like Virgin Suicides, but that's not really, I don't know. Drive Me Crazy, no. But I'm a Cheerleader, nah.
See, those three movies don't have rewatchability factors, in my opinion.
Jawbreaker, dude. I remember what she swallows on that Jawbreaker, and just the visual of that. There were some mean people in that. That was a mean movie. That's whoa. All right. And Judy Greer's cool, so I like that.
Oh, Judy Greer's amazing. I love Judy Greer nowadays from Archer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I loved her not long after Jawbreaker in I love a movie that not a lot of people love, but Cursed.
Oh, we gotta talk about that sometime.
Let's do that, because I truly love that movie.
I mean, werewolves. Like, we gotta cover werewolves. And also, too, I read Brian Raftery's book, where it's Best Movie Year Ever, how 1999 kind of blew up the box office. And he wrote about Election, and he wrote about The Wood in this movie, the making of these. And I think he wrote about another one in here, but I'm not sure. But
I've never seen The Wood.
Oh, it's fun, man. I remember reading about it again and just loving it.
Can I watch that as a 40-year-old who's never seen it and truly enjoy it?
The nice thing is it bounces between high school kids and then their older versions of themselves.
Okay, that's okay. So when you said The Wood, it really threw me, but I assumed you knew what you were talking about, because in my head, The Wood was about a bunch of 25 or 30-year-olds.
Yeah, so you have their high school versions of them and then the older versions of them.
Okay, all right. So that's
it kind of bounces back and forth between the two groups. So
I love Taye Diggs. He's in it, right?
Yeah, and Taye Diggs is in it, and it's just a cool coming of age story, and I remember having a lot of fun with it. And it's just well directed, and yeah, I think, it's it bounces between the kids and then the older people, and it's cool. It's a good movie. I totally recommend it.